This is the story of Alf Goes Wild. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this. Let's begin now. When 7-year-old Brian Tanner arrived at Camp Winnacoma, he couldn't wait to drop off his duffel bag and begin the week's activities. As he was dragging the canvas sack along the dirt path, a teenage counselor approached.
Hi, I'm Greg, your cabin master. Need some help with that bag?
Thanks. It seems a lot heavier than when I packed it.
Come on, I'll introduce you to your cabin mates.
Greg helped Brian lug the bag to their cabin. Inside, a boy looked up from the book he was reading.
The name's Daryl, but don't bother to use it. And don't bug me, okay?
The counselor frowned at Daryl before introducing Brian to his other cabin mate.
This is Timmy. It's his first time at camp.
Brian smiled at the younger boy.
It'll be great. You'll see.
After Brian looked around the cabin, Greg led the boys off to the orientation meeting. As soon as they were gone, Brian's duffel bag began to twitch. Suddenly, the string popped loose, and out climbed a strange, furry creature. It was Alf.
Wow! What a way for an alien to travel.
He looked around the cabin and took a deep breath.
Ah, so this is nature. Mountains, pine trees, flowers, snacks. Snacks!
Alf found the other campers' bags and began going through their things, tossing aside swimming trunks, hiking boots, and canteens. Alf had just about dumped everything on the floor when he got to the bottom of Daryl's bag.
Ah, the familiar sound of cellophane wrapping.
He pulled the package out.
Gumdrops? My heart was set on cupcakes. Oh well, no problem. This is camp. We're supposed to be roughing it. Now, where's the nearest TV?
Just then, he heard the boys' voices in the distance.
Uh-oh, better scram. I'll wait till later to tell Brian I'm here.
Alf hurried outside to hide. As the boys walked up the path, Timmy suddenly stopped and pointed at something in the dirt.
Look, footprints. They're coming from our cabin, and they don't look human.
As Brian bent down to examine the tracks, Daryl looked into the cabin.
Okay, which of you jokers messed up my stuff?
As Brian and Timmy stared at the clothes and camping gear strewn around the room, Daryl held up the cellophane.
Someone ate all my gumdrops!
Brian looked at the empty package in Daryl's hands.
Timmy and I were with you all the time, remember? And whatever it was, messed up our stuff too. An animal must have wandered in looking for food.
Timmy's eyes widened and Brian patted him on the back.
Don't worry about it. We'll just be sure to lock up everything tonight. We better clean up this mess before Greg gets back.
They straightened up the cabin, then went to dinner with the other campers. That night, Timmy latched the door before crawling into bed. After the boys had been asleep for a while, a noise jolted Brian awake. He looked at the window and saw a hairy creature trying to get in.
Alf!
Timmy sat up.
Oh, it's back!
Yow!
Scared by Timmy's screaming, Alf tumbled backward into the bushes. Brian rushed to Timmy's bedside.
It was only, a little nightmare you must have been having.
Timmy pulled the covers up to his eyes.
But at the window, I thought I saw... Go back to sleep, Timmy. I'll go outside and check for anything suspicious, all right?
Timmy hid under the covers as Brian tiptoed across the room. As soon as he got outside, Brian raced around the cabin. There he found Alf, lying in the bushes.
Alf, what are you doing here?
Yo, Brian, just picking pine needles out of my fur.
No, Alf. How did you get to Camp Winnacoma?
Well, I've always wanted to see the wilderness, to be one with nature, join in harmony with... All right, B, here's the truth. I missed you. You don't know what it's like to be cooped up in the house all day with the cat.
Brian helped Alf out of the bushes.
You can't stay here.
Don't send me back. I've been through too much. Dragged through the dirt in a duffel bag. Frightened by a very nervous camper. Please, let me stay. I'll be good, I promise. Please, 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 please.
Alf leaned his head against Brian.
Okay, Alf. I won't send you home, but you have to promise to stay out of sight.
No problem.
The next morning, the entire camp set out for a hike. As the boys walked through the forest, Timmy suddenly grabbed Brian's arm.
Look over there! Something's moving alongside the trail.
Brian saw Alf duck behind a bush.
That's, nothing, Timmy. Just shadows playing tricks.
Darryl shook his head.
You guys are scaredy cats.
That afternoon, the hikers discovered a swimming hole. As soon as they were in the water, Darryl sneaked up behind Timmy and started splashing him.
Ha ha! Scaredy cat, you're all wet.
Stop it, Darryl! Brian, help me!
From his hiding place in a tree, Alf watched Darryl.
That guy's really starting to bug me. Ah, here's a pine cone. Take this, you bully.
Ow! Who threw that at me?
As Darryl glanced up at the trees, Brian gulped.
Gee, Darryl, it must have been a squirrel.
After dinner, everyone gathered around the campfire. Brian saw Alf peering through the bushes as Greg called the meeting to order.
Okay, folks, it's story time.
Sitting in a big circle, the boys leaned in to hear Greg.
Legend has it that a mean, horrible creature called the Winnacoma Woodwhopper stalks the forest at night, following you wherever you go.
The story made Alf feel a little afraid. He looked at the dark forest behind him. Shivering, he crept closer to the campers. Greg continued his story.
Nobody knows what the Woodwhopper looks like. Some say he's 3 feet tall. Others say over 12. One thing's for certain. He's out there. Isn't he, Timmy?
Yeah. He was in our cabin. He made a mess of everything.
That's right, Timmy. Legend also states that the creature isn't very tidy.
Darryl put his head in his hands.
Oh, brother.
Meanwhile, Alf was listening to every word. He was sure the Woodwhopper was going to pounce on him any second. He tried to ignore the forest sounds, but when he heard something behind him, he jumped. Greg looked at the boys.
Did you hear that?
As Timmy trembled, nodding his head, Darryl turned to him.
Will you calm down? I want to hear this.
Greg gazed at his eager listeners.
You'll never hear the Woodwhopper coming. He appears without warning. For all we know, he's watching us right now. Spying on us from those bushes. Right there!
Greg pointed straight at Alf.
Ah!
The frightened alien leaped out of the bushes and into the group of boys. Timmy jumped up.
The Woodwhopper! Run! Everybody run!
As the boys scattered into the forest, Brian remained by the campfire with Alf clamped to his leg.
Yo, Brian, is it gone?
Is what gone? What are you talking about?
The Woodwhopper! It was right behind me!
Oh, wow, that was just a story. Everybody ran away because you scared them. I'm taking you back to the cabin before you cause any more trouble.
No problem. I still think the Woodwhopper might come back.
On the way, Alf stuck close to Brian. Suddenly, Timmy appeared, pointing.
Look out, Brian! The Woodwhopper's following you!
Where?
Alf grabbed Brian's arm.
No, Alf. Timmy thinks you're the Woodwhopper.
As Timmy turned and ran, Brian raced after him.
Slow down, Timmy. It's okay. He's not what you think he is.
Alf sauntered up to the terrified boy.
Yo, Tim, don't worry. I'm, a mystical creature of the forest. Yeah, sent by the King of the Woods to, give you the power.
Power?
Timmy stopped shaking.
Yeah, the power to overcome your fears.
Timmy took a better look at Alf.
You're not much bigger than I am. Up close, you don't look very scary. From now on, I promise not to be afraid of anything I can't see.
As Brian walked Timmy back to the cabin, Alf thought it best to take another route. Alone in the forest, Alf kept a lookout for the wood whomper.
Oh, this is great! From a brave, good-looking alien, I've become a... Oh, what's that? A branch breaking? Yeah, that's it, Alfer. Be strong. Be very strong. Wait, over there. Something's behind that tree! Be afraid. Be very afraid. Oh no! It's Daryl!
When Daryl looked out from behind the tree, he saw something running towards him, making a strange sound and waving its arms. The boy took off, but only got a few yards when he tripped and fell. As Daryl rolled over on his back, Alf perched himself on the boy's chest and stared him in the eye.
I'm the Woodwomper, Daryl, and I've been watching you. You haven't been a nice kid lately. Not nice at all.
Daryl pleaded with the creature.
I'm sorry. Don't hurt me. I'll do whatever you want.
Oh yeah? How about easing up on Timmy?
Sure, anything. Really. I'll be nice to everyone. Honest.
Alf slowly climbed off Daryl's chest.
You better remember, I'll be watching. You'll never know when I'll pop up next.
Daryl got up and slowly backed away, then took off running for camp. Later that night, Alf met Brian outside the cabin.
Try not to take this too hard, but I'm leaving this place. I was wrong. Nature isn't what it's cracked up to be. There's no TV, no microwave. This hostile environment is no place for an alien.
I know, Alf. I'm sorry it turned out this way. I'm going to miss... Oh my gosh! Alf, behind you! It's the Woodwomper!
Help! Help! Send me home! Now!
Brian clapped Alf on the shoulder.
Just kidding!